Hello friends, how's it Sunbonan? So I wanted to hop in here to show you the pattern that I found at Walmart for $2.97. This year I promised myself I'm going to learn how to use patterns. I mean I can sew, but I can't sew. That's why I decided to give patterns a try, because I've always been intimidated by them. It just looks so complicated. So I picked a couple of these up, and they have been pretty easy so far. If you have like a basic understanding of sewing, then these aren't so bad. And at the back has the fabrics and suggestions and things that you can use to make it. I went ahead, I had some fabric, and that's another thing. I'm trying to use out my stash, and I made a little shirt for my son. The collar was a bit complicated, but I found a video on YouTube to help with that, so give it a try. So I'm just giving you guys a closer look at my shirt. I'm so proud of it. I'm so excited about it. It's my first like proper shirt that I've made for him. And like I said previously, the pattern was pretty simple. It's just the collar. I was confused on whether to sew it from the inside over, from the back over. I did browse a few videos on YouTube just explaining on how to get it together, and that's what I did. And so you'll see at the back, I'm just showing you how it looks. And I did put the markings out for the buttons. So I'm going to go ahead and work on putting my buttons and buttonholes and get the shirts together. I mean, granted, I've made the shirts. He's worn the shirts a few times and he looks so cute. Hello friends, how's it? Let's make some buttonholes. This is your buttonhole foot. And this is where you would attach it onto your sewing machine foot. This, I don't know, button lever attachment on the side is used to size your button. So I have my button here, and you just pop it in, and then you use this to tighten it up or loosen it up. So my button is in there. Then I use my lever at the back to attach it. The most important thing about making buttonholes is that you have to push down the lever at the back. So this one would be to thread your machine. There's one at the back. It's pretty obvious. It says push on it. So you pull that back and make sure you push it to the back. Pull it all the way. You hear that? And then a little click. The next step would be is to make sure that your machine is set up to create your buttonholes. So I just went ahead with the standard buttonhole requirements here, which is my tension on 3, and then I've put my width on 6, and then your length has to be in between 1 and 0. You see the little buttonhole picture right there, and then at the bottom here, at the bottom here it has to be on the little buttonhole picture. So your machine is set up, your tension's done with, you have your foot on, you push the lever back. Let's make a buttonhole. Alright, as you can see, I have markings on my fabric. So this is a piece of fabric that I had left over from the garment. I made a shirt that I'm going to put the buttonholes on too. So I just wanted to use this as an example to know exactly what I was doing. So I went ahead, and my measurements for my button is based on the size of my button, and my placement is where the pattern had me place them. So that's how I determine mine. But this, honestly, the standard I've noticed is in between 1 to 2 inches of spacing between the buttonholes that you make. So this might get a little loud, but let's go ahead and do it. And you'll notice on your buttonhole foot you have a line in the middle and right here. So you have these 2 triangles on this side and a rectangle in the middle. Make sure that your line that you drew in the middle of your placement aligns. Okay, so we'll make sure that it aligns because that's where it starts. And you'll notice that I'm starting from the bottom because that's how the buttonhole foot goes. So it'll start at the bottom where it'll make the double lines. It'll make that thick line that starts there. It'll go up, do the lines again, and then come back down. So you want to start at the bottom. You can go ahead and draw a line. You can place a pin just to give you guidance, but that's where you'll start. So let's line this up, and we'll give it a slow start, just to get going. And there we have a buttonhole. I know it looks a little wonky. I've got to cut these threads off. And here it is. So if you look at it like this, then you're like, okay, it's fine. I'll just go ahead with it. I'll use it. But if you're like, oh no, I don't like the way it looks, you can always go ahead and fiddle with the tension to figure out, as well as the width, to figure out what you would like. So right now we have it on the standard settings, as I said. But the thing about sewing multiple buttonholes is that make sure when you're done with one, you have to push that back. Otherwise, you're going to have wonky buttonholes. So I went ahead and I changed my settings. The only thing, I changed my tension from 3 to 4. So let's see if that makes a difference. And quite honestly, when you're sewing a buttonhole, you don't really have to hold the fabric, because that can change the appearance of your buttonhole. All you have to do is guide it. What little guidance really is, because the foot is right there and the foot is kind of like helping you with that. So let's go ahead and let's see what it looks like on 4. Here we go. Okay, to finish up this buttonhole, now we're at the end. You're going to need some straight pins, a seam ripper, and some fray check. You can get these at Walmart also, Walmart, Joann's. So you want to take, I hope you can see, your straight pin. Put it right in there. We have the straight pin, same position. Now this is the tricky part, and this could be the dangerous part too, so please don't stab yourself. Want to insert your seam ripper and just rip up. Take your time. And the reason for putting the pins there is like a guide to stop, because you don't want to rip the whole thing. So there you go. You have your button hole. I like to make sure my button fits. A little snug. But it goes in. And then use your fray check.